Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I thought I'd do something a little different. This is completely new for me, I've never done this before, and that is a film review. So if you read the bio on my channel, it does say artwork, action figure reviews, and film and television reviews. And I haven't really done any film or television reviews so far. So yeah, I just thought it's about time that I did one. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, this is something I will consider doing more of. I'm just going to warn you now though, my editing skills are about as good as a knitted kettle. So yeah, don't expect too many images popping up on the screen. But this is literally just me coming here to talk about a film, you know, no editing, no director's cut. You're just getting my thoughts straight onto camera. So today we're going to be looking at a film which, in my opinion, does not get the praise or the attention that it deserves, and that is the massively underrated and completely overlooked Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, by none other than Zack Snyder, the director that is famous for a lot of very famous films, 300 being one of them, and Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut, which I hear is doing very well at the moment, and some other stuff. He's quite an interesting guy to research, actually. I can tell he's a very passionate person. He knows the stories he wants to tell, but he seems to get hindered quite a lot, and his artwork tempered with and cut down, which we're going to get onto later. First of all, looking at this film, looking at this DVD cover, you would probably think, especially with it being from the studio that brought you Happy Feet, which I know some of you are probably already having a cause for concern about. I like Happy Feet personally, but, you know, you'd probably think that this is a very light-hearted movie. You know, nice family film with some owls in. Well, not quite, because in this film, we have owls in metal masks. And like these metal death masks, these Grim Reaper masks. Basically Slipknot owls. Yeah, if I could, I would edit a montage of all of the different ones with just Slipknot playing in the background. But for those of you who've seen this film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The owls in this are prepped, and I mean prepped. They have battle claws, these sword things that they hold, and armor, and it's very, very cool. In fact, this film is actually something that inspired my personal story that I'm making. And I just think it's cool. I'm sorry, I might be easily impressed, but I just genuinely think that this film is cool, and I can't understand why so many people dislike it. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 53, which I think is criminal. I don't understand why this film gets so much hate. I apologise for the noise outside. I live right by a high street. But I just don't understand why it gets so much hate, to be honest. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. The DVD cover is showing you exactly what the characters look like on screen, although he looks a bit strange. He looks much better on screen than he does in the posters. But, so, first thing we'll get out of the way is story. So story is, essentially follows two owl brothers, Soren and Clud, as they are kidnapped from their home nest. These are owls, yeah, so it should be a nest. And are kidnapped by these unknown owls and taken to a mysterious place called St. Aegelius. I think, I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. And there is where they soon discover that they are in the capture of these metal-masked owls, which are led by an evil queen, who I think is called I really should have researched this. I think she's called Kara or Tara, and yeah, she's. I think in owl terms, she's meant to be very pretty. So much so that that Clud becomes a bit of a simp for her, quite literally, as we'll get onto shortly. And yeah, it's soon made clear that there is a sort of racial purity thing with the owls, because if you don't know, Soren here is a Taito owl, and so is Clud, and the owls that have captured them and kidnapped them are Taitos, and they call themselves Pure Ones. So yeah, metaphor much. I think you can see straight away where this film is going. There is a racial purity thing with these owls, and all of the other owlets that get kidnapped, her being one of them, have no choice but to be slaves. Yeah, they're really hitting it over your head, aren't they? The obvious Nazi metaphor, and you know, even the Saint Aegelius is covered in like these flags and these banners. So yeah, it really does. It really does. Getting very World War II vibes from it. But Soren gets quite close with this owl, and he decides that he's not going to let these pure ones, as they call themselves, intimidate him. So he gets sent away to be a slave along with her, whereas his selfish brother Clud, who is a bit of a dick, and you'll learn that more and more as the film goes on, he's like, to hell with that, and they take him to be a soldier, basically. And the Queen, Tara, is impressed with him and starts emotionally manipulating him by tricking him into thinking that, you know, she likes him back. He's just a poor simp. He's a poor simp who's fallen under her spell. So, the Pure Ones are led by an evil owl known as Metalbeak, and the name pretty much speaks for itself. He had his beak ripped off, and it's replaced with a metal one that is also a part of a metal mask that he wears. Now, if I were to rank villains based on aesthetic, visually, this guy would be a 10 out of 10, because he's absolutely brilliant. He is scary. In certain lighting, he just works so well. The voice actor does a great job. And yeah, very, very threatening. And I love how you don't see too much of him, but when you do see him, damn, he's scary. So, I don't want to spoil too much about the film because I want you guys to go and actually watch it, but Soren, and her name escapes me, but this owl escape, whereas Clud decides to stay with the Pure Ones and become a Pure One, which separates the brothers on their own separate paths. Soren and his friend travel across seas to find the mythical Guardians of Garhul. And they do this, they find the Guardians, and then they try to convince them to come to St. Aegelius to rescue all of the kidnapped owlets, which are being used as slaves. So that is a brief summary of the story. These owls, Digger and Twilight, they meet along their journey, and this is Soren's little sister, Eglantine. She's absolutely adorable, but I don't want to spoil anything too much. So this is a non-spoilerific review because I just want you guys to go and watch this. This film definitely has violence, but there's no blood violence. You know, I think it's more slapstick and more implied violence. Like, your imagination does most of the work for you, but it still is very action-packed when it has its action, and it just does, visually, I think the animation is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It holds up so well today. Sometimes I feel like I'm actually looking at real owls. So, very good. The cast is a mixture between Australian and British actors, funnily enough, which made me think, is this an Australian-British production? No, it's actually an Australian-American production. So, yeah, no, not too many American actors. In fact, I don't think there are any, come to think of it. I could be wrong, but yeah, very good cast. You know, everyone does the job very well. In terms of comedy, Digger here is the comic relief, and so is Twilight, really. They can be funny. Sometimes their humour is a bit dry, but this is the early 2010s. In fact, this film came out in 2010. So, yeah, humour began to become more irritating at this point than funny, but I feel like this film does keep itself together really well. You know, it doesn't become ridiculous, it doesn't ruin any scenes with unnecessary humour, and it's quite well balanced. So, yeah, that's very good. I find with a lot of films, they add too much humour in a really dark scene, and it just completely takes you out of the scene and makes you realise, you know, oh, it's no reason to get that invested in it. This film doesn't do that, which is very good. And as I said, it's got quite a plethora of villains. You've got the Metalbeak, you've got Tyra, or I really hope I'm getting her name right, and Clud, who goes down a very dark path. I kind of like that, you know, the idea of them being brothers at first and then they go separate ways, but my one complaint is I feel as though Clud is a bit too evil. I feel like he was rotten at the start and he's just as rotten by the end and throughout. But I'm going to try not to spoil too much. That's my one complaint, but I really, the biggest problem with this film is it leaves so much to be desired. I feel as though the ending was, I'm not going to say rushed, I think it's a very satisfying ending. It builds pace and tension really well, even though a lot of people have said the pacing of the film is off. I think so actually. I think there could have been more scenes, and especially with character development. I think Clud is the one that suffers the most, because he kind of, as I said, he kind of just is really evil with no explanation of why. I kind of wish they'd have gone into that a bit more. In terms of the mythology, I don't think you need to know too much about Metalbeak. You know, there's an entire, the story of him is enough, and then actually meeting him is really impactful because you realise this is the owl that Soren has been talking about, that his dad told him about. You know, it's quite impactful to finally see him. But I just wish that characters like Clud and the Guardians themselves and all that, I just wish this had had more time to develop. I do understand that some things do feel rushed, but overall I feel as though, in terms of watching the film, it never becomes dull or boring. You know, you don't find yourself looking at your phone at certain points. I think it holds you at the screen very well, or at least it does for me. But it does leave a lot to be desired. And what's strange is, I have the DVD version here. On the Blu-ray release, you do actually get some extra scenes that were cut. One of them being the Battle of the Ice Claws at the very start of the film, which is really irritating. I can't understand why they've done that. If the Blu-ray was released at a later date, maybe? But, I mean, that's annoying. It would be nice to have those extra scenes, and there's even some scenes you can tell have been shot and animated, but are not included in the film because they're included in the trailer, which is strange. I won't spoil what the scene is, but I just feel like it would have added a little bit more to the film. So once again, I'm not really sure why Zack Snyder did this. I don't know if he was pressured from above to keep the film a certain length, which can happen, but I don't know. This film isn't overly long, it's roughly about an hour and a half. I just feel like it could have done with an extra 15 or 20 minutes just to help build the world and develop the characters a bit more, so it is lacking a little in substance in some areas. But overall, I think it's a very good story. Now, I'm just going to say right now, I haven't read the Legend of the Guardians books, because I'm terrible at reading. I've never been good at it since I was a kid. My brain reacts more to images, so usually I get into these fandoms like Watership Down, Redwall, and stuff through the TV adaptations or the films. You know, it's very rare that I get into these things through reading the books because I'm not very good at reading, which is difficult, but it is what it is. So a lot of people have said that the books are way better, it handles the characters better. I understand. Honestly, Zach, I know you're not watching this video, but I would just say to you that please can we have a Legend of the Guardians 2? Because I just want to see more of these characters. I understand that this is probably a forgotten film. In fact, most people probably can't even remember it. But I do know that it does have a fan base out there, as there are other YouTubers that have made videos on this film. Some positive, some negative, but I just feel like this could have done with more. Or maybe I'm just really enjoying it because I've watched it recently. That could be it, and I'm sure in time I'll come to forget it until it's the time again to watch it. So overall, what do I think of this film? Well, I just want more. I think it handles things very well. Visuals are a 10 out of 10. They're phenomenal for the time, and they still hold up very well today. Characters are very good, but some of them do feel a bit empty, and like I said, the problem with Clud is he just comes across as a bit too evil. Villains that I like are villains that you can understand and sympathise with, which I want to do with Clud, but the film doesn't really give you much of a chance because you don't see too much of him once he's with the pure ones, and when you do, he's so evil that you struggle to have any compassion for him at all. So I just feel like this could have done with a sequel, especially because the film was practically setting up for a sequel at the end, which I won't spoil, but you know, it made me, when I was in the cinema with my mom and dad watching this, I was like, oh, I can't wait for the second one, and the second one never came, and it sucked. So, you know, I kind of want to start a petition, give us Legend of the Guardians 2. Please, Zack, if you're not too busy with your Justice League Snyder cut and your whatever modern Hollywood rubbish you're working on. Sorry, but Hollywood has just gone so downhill. And, you know, I think films like this are great. I love anthropomorphic animals, and I love this film. It really is fun to watch. Soundtrack is brilliant. I love the soundtrack for this film. Some of the music is really eerie. Like the song from the Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines trailer is in a certain scene in this film. And, you know, it's so, oh, it makes my blood turn and gives you goosebumps. Very good. Soundtrack is phenomenal, honestly. Actors are great. Animation brilliant. Story, it's good, but it leaves a lot to be desired. Overall, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this a 7 out of 10, but a very strong 7 out of 10, mostly because I love it so much. But I can't be too over the top with it because it just leaves so much to be desired, as I keep saying. So, if you haven't seen this film, go watch it. And if you're thinking of tracking it down on physical media, try and get the Blu-ray, because as I said, it includes those extra scenes. It would even be nice if they released this film as like Legend of the Guardians, Snyder Cut, and it included the footage that they took out, because the footage is in the trailer. So, you know, come on, give us, it's been animated, it's there. Just put it in the film, please. How long is the film? It's 97 minutes. That's not long. What is that? Oh, that's an hour and 37 minutes. Gosh, it didn't feel that long when I was watching it. Well, that's another positive I'll add. It doesn't drag. It doesn't feel that long when you're watching it, so it's really good. I don't know, I just feel like an extra 10 minutes at least, just for those extra scenes, just would have been really great. But anyway, my overall review is 7 out of 10, very good 7 out of 10. Despite it being a 7 out of 10, I'm still going to give it my golden seal of approval. Just imagine that I'm stamping a golden seal of approval on it, because I don't have anything to actually stamp on it. But Yeah, all-time classic for me. I probably will never stop loving this film. It's just really fun. I loved it when I went to see it at the cinema, and I still love it today. So I hope you've enjoyed this review, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this film, if you've seen it. Are you planning on watching it because of my terrible review? Please let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know, and I will do more film and television reviews. Because, you know, my bio does say that, so it's about time that I did some. So, thanks for watching the video, guys. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Also, guys, here's some fan art that I'm currently working on. This is what I would love to see in Legend of the Guardians 2. So, yeah. Just a little drawing I'm working on. See, look, those are the metal masks in the background. And yeah, Legend of the Guardians 2. I just realised what I should do is rub out this and put the 2 there so it kind of works as one big thing, but I'll get on to that. So, yeah. I'll update you guys and see how this goes when I work on it more and more. So, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.